get my little warm up in, get the blood flowing, and then we're gonna get to these drills.
All right, I'd like to welcome to the Victory Formation podcast, a running back, kick returner, slot, free agent Caleb Stennis, formerly of the Pro Indoor Football League, the Oregon High Desert Storm, 5'9", 215-pound running back, looking for an opportunity. How you doing tonight, Caleb?
I'm blessed, man. I'm so thankful to be on the show.
Oh, man, it's great to have you on, man. And I see you grew up in Texas. Tell us a little bit about your area of Texas and what the football scene was like.
Man, if you know anything about football, football is king in Texas. So I grew up in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. I'm sure you've heard of Dallas Card. I'm sure you've seen Friday Night Lights. I mean, this football is king out there. D-Rob is out there. Dez Bryant is out there. The Cowboys are out there. You know, Cowboy Stadium is maybe 30 minutes away from or 20 minutes away from where I live. So, you know, football is definitely king out there. I grew up playing football since I was maybe 6 years old. And that's how it is for a lot of kids in Texas. I mean, it's just common.
And what position did you play growing up, and when did you first start playing running back?
You know what? I've always played running back. Even when I didn't understand it, I was smaller growing up, man. I was a smaller cat, but you know, I always kind of looked at running back as a sophisticated game of tag, you know, and you know that it keeps the little kid inside of me just wants to get that flag and run around and not be touched and juke and jab and all that stuff. And so I just always took that with me, and I've always played running back, man. I think running back is a mentality. I've always had a mentality of I can't be stopped, I can't be blocked, I won't be denied, and I think that has always fueled me playing running back as opposed to a linebacker who has the I need to stop you, I'm gonna hit something kind of mentality. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Caleb, what growing up in Texas, what's the weather like down there? I'm a Midwest boy, so we don't have any of the humidity, and I'm very curious what it's like growing up in Texas with the weather.
I mean, it's hot. I mean, it's hot. I mean, it doesn't. I mean, even in December, it's still 70s. Depending on the year, it could even be 80s in the middle of December. You know, at Christmas time, no snow, sun out. You know, it won't even get cold until maybe January, February. Then it'll get cold. This weird thing that happened with this weather recently, that's just an anomaly. That's in all my years of living, Texas has never been that cold.
Right. How does the humidity affect a running back in games and stuff?
Well, from my personal experience, it just makes you sweat a lot. And when you're sweating a lot, so there's a pocket, you know, where you carry the ball and you feel it's snug. When you sweat a lot, you don't want that ball slipping around in there. That's the only thing. Your hands are slipping in your gloves. That's the only thing you don't like about that humidity. But it's really not crazy humid in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. Now you go to Houston, oh man, you're gonna be sweating.
You're gonna be sweating in Houston.
Yeah. Well, it's more humid.
More humid in Houston. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. What kind of, do you have any high school records, or what was your high school career like?
You know what? Right before high school, I actually moved to the Northeast, and I was at a school called Tuscarora High School in Maryland.
Oh, okay.
That's where I graduated. It's crazy, man. Coming out of high school, I had some looks, but I didn't have all the looks that I really wanted. So I ended up going to a post grad school. I do still own the record for the 40-yard dash with a 4.34 there in
Right.
Maryland. Um, but I didn't have the looks that I wanted. So I went to a post grad school, and then from there, I got offered to go to Robert Morris University, FCS, in Pittsburgh.
Okay.
And you went to so how did you wind up in JUCO and transferring over to Minnesota State?
Okay, so I got to Robert Morris University. My true freshman year, I was playing, but I ended up getting I had a groin injury, so I ended up medical redshirting. And then when I came back that following year, we got a new O coordinator. He brought in his own running back, and you know how that goes. He pushed for him to play. And so after that was 2014. After that 2014 season, I transferred back down because they wouldn't Robert Morris wouldn't release any of my film. I had all
Yeah.
this film of me doing this crazy stuff, but
Mm.
they wouldn't release any of it. And so, that kind of screwed up my recruiting process. So I had to go back down JUCO, came back down to JUCO, and I was balling in JUCO as well. I got invited actually to a University of Tennessee camp summer of 15, ran like a 4.3, 4.4. I thought they were going to offer me on the spot. All of the players did. That was when the little short head coach was there. I forget his name. Um, and but it didn't, it fell through, and I ended up getting held back from playing that JUCO season because it was like some out of state rule or something crazy. So I just didn't have nothing but practice film. So I still was balling even in practice. So I just sent that out to over 1,000 colleges, in waves like a recruiter. And I ended up garnering all this interest, getting a lot of offers. And then I chose Minnesota State. Mankato flew me out. They flew me out there. They worked me out. I had a beast workout, ran like a 2.6 flat in the 20, like 18 to 20 reps in the on the 225. I was like 185 at that time too. And then ran like a 4.01 shuttle. And then they offered me for football and track. I ran track in college too, in the 60. And so I came out immediately from JUCO to Minnesota State, Mankato that year. I was balling, doing really well. In the spring game, I had like 2 rushing TDs. I had 130 all-purpose, like a 40-something yard kick return. Did really well. And they came back and said, hey, this guy, um, because he didn't graduate with his AA, he has to sit out. And so we fought it. Basically, it got kicked up to like the Supreme Court level of the NCAA eligibility. And I'm like, hey, man, and I went and got all this evidence. I went and got the records saying that, I had like over 80 credits, when I came into Minnesota State, but they were still saying, oh, you have to have, so many credits and get your AA, which was bogus. So I ended up getting held out from playing in 2016 as well.
That's a shame. And you did have a good pro day though. What was that at Minnesota?
No, that was actually a private pro day. So 17 is when I left Minnesota, and then I started working out with an ex CFL guy, and he threw a pro day. And at the first one I ran a 4.33, and then the second one I ran a 4.39. And posted some other good numbers, and got some footage catching the ball and things like that.
That's very good. And
Yes,
you
sir.
had interest and invites to several CFL tryouts, including the Saskatchewan Rough Riders, BC Lions, and the Winnipeg Blue Bombers.
For sure.
How do you think you did, and why don't you think they signed you?
Well, I actually did really well. I did so well at the Saskatchewan workout that I actually picked up an NFL agent at the workout, and he started representing me there. But I did real. I think I ran like a 4.4 at Saskatchewan's workout, Now, I don't know if you remember Villanova's ex running back who was in the league who used to play for the Rams. He was at the workout that I went to for Saskatchewan, as well as Jonathan Gray. I don't know if you heard of him. He used to play for University of Texas, and we were all top backs there. But Saskatchewan, they're a big name, and that year they ended up signing Trey Mason. They ended up signing Trey Mason. That was the year they signed him, even though I was on the hot list. So it was like, okay, well, I guess he leapfrogged me. Of course, I have no way of, knowing for certain, but they ended up signing Trey Mason. He went over there and played until, whatever happened with him. So they didn't sign me from there, even though I did well. Then I also got invited to a few of the BC Lions. I was in a constant contact with BC Lion scout David Payne, and he had me going to 2 or 3 workouts. I was talking to Hunter, their player personnel guy. Went to 2 or 3 there, did really well there. Got invited to a showcase that Payne was also hosting, did well there. But they just, for whatever reason, didn't pull the trigger. I don't know, why they didn't pull the trigger. Caught a lot of good balls. And then I got invited to, invite only the AAF combine. Did really well there. Ran like a 4.5, a sub 4.4, 4.5 there. In front of a lot of scouts. Was talking to Mike Singletary was there. Did really well. I was also talking to Eddie Lacy's brother. Eddie Lacy's brother was the running backs coach there, and he liked me a lot. But like I said, they just didn't, for whatever reason at that time, didn't pull the trigger.
Well, how long after that did they fold?
Yeah, not long, not long.
Yeah,
maybe a month or 2.
I think they only played like six games and then folded after that.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, they didn't. It didn't last too long. It was cool though, man. It would have been exposure. So then after that, I got invited to the Winnipeg workout, but I just couldn't make it. I'm married. I got a kid, so I couldn't make that workout. Then 2019, I got invited to the Spring League in Austin, spring of 19. Went out there, did really well. Obviously, you see the film on YouTube, did pretty good there. And then after that, trying to think what happened after that.
Did the Spring League kind of propel you into getting interest from the Iowa Barnstormers and the Oakland Panthers?
Yeah. I started getting a lot of interest from different CFL teams. The head coach from the Iowa Barnstormers, I don't know if it's still the same guy, but he actually personally inboxed me on LinkedIn and asked me to come out there to the workout. So I drove all night to get to that workout. Got there about 3 a.m. and worked out that morning. And I still hit, like, I think I hit a 4.54 there. Did well in drills. I mean, the guy, what's his name? It's a scouting company that's well known on LinkedIn. He said I was probably the best, just as far as movement goes, the best running back there. So, but that, like I said, for whatever reason, the head coach didn't pull the trigger. I went to the Oakland Panthers workout in Austin. That was either at the very end of 2019 or beginning of 2020. Man, I posted crazy numbers. Like I was like head and shoulders the best running back there. I think I posted something like a 401 or a 39 in the shuttle. It's on my Instagram page, all my numbers. But I went and talked to the player personnel guy, and I was like, hey, are you guys looking to sign a running back? He was like, I'm gonna be honest with you, man. We already got Marshawn. We already got Marshawn's little brother. So, we're not really looking for a running back right now. he just flat out told me. So I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna still take these times and, use that to help me get updated numbers. And then I ended up going to a Frisco Fighters workout, and I did really well there. Was signed immediately after the workout, like on the spot. And then, I went into camp with Frisco, was doing pretty decent. it was me and two other backs. They only wanted to keep one back on the roster. So they released me and the other guy, and they pretty much kept the other guy on the roster. And then immediately after I was released from Frisco, I got signed to the West Texas Warbirds almost like a day or two later, like maybe a day later. And I was doing really well up there. I was starting. We was on our way to our first game, and then of course, COVID messed everything up, man.
Yeah.
COVID messed it up, man. So that season was canceled. I stayed out there till like May trying to see, if they were going to revive the season. And then early 2021, I got a call from ex head coach of Houston, John Jenkins. And he invited me to the FCF workout in Atlanta. And so I went out, and that workout is on YouTube too. Went out there, did really well. Impressed a lot of people. I got the commissioner's personal number, and they ended up offering me a contract. I was in Atlanta, and that first whole week they have like COVID testing and stuff like that. And they did our our physicals, and we had to take like 4 COVID tests, and it was like some fluky stuff, man. They told me I didn't pass my physical. I was like, I haven't been hurt in like 10 years, dude. Like, how did I not pass the physical?
Well,
and so
it's a new league. They probably still were a little confused at the time as well.
I don't know what happened, man.
I know Mike's been
sense.
watching it a little bit.
Yeah.
You have any questions about the FCF, Mike?
Yeah, I was just kind of curious, like, what were the workouts and stuff like leading up to the actual games and stuff?
That's what I'm saying. Like, I was there. It was nothing. We hadn't done anything. Like, so that first week, nobody was allowed to leave their room. Like, nobody even left their room. You know what I mean?
Right.
And we were just about to start working out, and they were like, yeah, the doctor is saying you didn't pass your physical. And I was like, how did I not pass physical? I've played for 3 teams before coming here.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it didn't make sense. So I was released from there, and then shortly thereafter, I was offered 2 contracts. Obviously one to go back to West Texas, and then my most current team now, which is the Oregon High Desert Storm, which is who I'm signed to now. So now I'm just getting right, training for that, and whatever opportunity may come of that or from that.
Caleb, as you tell your story, the one thing that I hear is, you're working out, you've got a shot, then adversity, and then you got another shot, and then adversity. How do you stay positive in the times of adversity and stay strong in those times?
Well, are you a spiritual man, Mike?
I am.
Well, the Lord told me back in 2012 that I was meant to go to the NFL. And it seemed like after he said that, all hell broke loose in my life. Like nothing lined up, like opportunities. Oh, I'm going, all this cloud. Then boom, something fluky happened. You know what I mean? Something that has nothing to do with my talent or ability or anything. Just something just fluky. You know what I mean? So like I should have been on ESPN right now. You know what I mean?
Right.
Playing for the FCF. So it was like. Yeah. I was like dumbfounded, but I just remember that he told me that, and he continues to reassure me in dreams and visions where I see myself playing for various NFL and CFL teams. And even when the FCF called, man, I was like, man, look, man, I'm finna go. I'm thinking about driving trucks. And right when I was thinking about doing that, the coach literally called my phone. Never heard of this guy. Right. And it just so happened that a scout that I had been dealing with way back when had recommended me for this league. So it's like God was like, okay, I said this, I'm gonna make it happen. I'm not gonna let you give up on yourself.
Trust the process. Trust the process.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I keep going, man. I've always had that. I've always been a relentless guy. That's just my nature in general. So yeah, man, I just stay prayed up.
I don't mean to cut you off, but how do you feel you kept yourself football ready during the pandemic?
Oh man, I was working out, man. I went to school for exercise science, man. I'm a certified personal trainer, certified nutrition consultant in exercise nutrition. So man, my diet and my workouts was A1. You know what I mean? I was hitting the gym, getting up early, running, doing the conditioning, doing everything that I know to do during that time frame. And even now my grind is even kicked up even more, where at least 3 days a week I'm working out twice, but I'm working out once, maybe at least 6 days a week. You know what I mean? Sometimes 7 days a week. Like I'm just constantly grinding right now. Like I'm in play in the game right now shape. So
what's your training regimen like?
Well, I go to see I get my performance training at 8 a.m. With our trainer out here, and then we'll go to like 9, maybe 9:30, and then I'll drive about an hour out, and I will skill train with my running back trainer, skills trainer, for about 2 hours, 2.5 hours. Um, and then I come home, shower, and then I go to work, and then I just maintain that schedule pretty much 3 days a week. I see my performance trainer 5 days, 4 to 5 days a week, but the skill guy, I do that combination at least 3 days a week.
Right. Do you, as far as like your diet and stuff, is it just your diet, or do you take vitamins and stuff like that as well?
Oh man, I take fish oil, I take sea moss, I got a superfood green supplement that I take a scoop of every day. Breakfast, I eat like 7 eggs, 2 packets of oatmeal, a bagel. I have a mass gainer just to keep calories because I'm working out so much. I have a protein shake that I take. I mean, my nutrition is pretty dialed in.
And do you have a nutritionist, or you're your own nutritionist?
I'm my own nutritionist.
Okay. I might need to look you up in a little bit, because I need some of that in my life too.
Oh yeah, for sure. And my wife also, she has her own weight loss boot camp business, and
Oh, nice.
we call her the fat slasher because she'll get you from 240 to 190. You know what I mean?
Nice.
She's a beast.
That's
I
awesome.
went from 240 down to 140.
Yeah. She'll get you down there, man. You stay consistent.
I did it on my own. It was a lot of work. It was a lot of
Yeah.
just trial and error,
Yeah.
seeing what foods I could eat, what food, but mostly it was about moving and
Yeah.
not eating too late. That's a big one. I tell a lot of the offensive linemen, stop eating 2.5 to 3 hours before bed, and you'll see the results right away. You'll be dropping 5, 10 pounds, because people, they eat right before they go to bed. How do you think you're burning that off? It's impossible. But I mean, why do you feel you're a better football player now than even in 2017 when you were coming out of college?
Oh my God. I mean, I've trained with a lot of guys that I did not have access to in and before college since then. I know the game better. I've trained with ex NFL, ex CFL players now. I've heightened my technique. I'm a lot bigger and stronger and faster than I was in college. In college, I think I had maxed out at like 190 as far as my weight was concerned. 5'8", 5'9". I'm like 215 now. I'm stronger. I'm bigger. I'm quicker. I've been working a lot of my short area stuff. I can just do a lot of things on the field that I couldn't do before because I've worked with guys who know how to program the body. There's a certain point when you get into football where you need a skill guy that knows how to program your body to do things that it couldn't do before. That's why they go to guys like Footwork King. That's why they go to Gold Feet Global, or these skill guys, because they can get their body moving in a way that it wasn't moving before. And my IQ has increased also as far as what I do at receiver. I can now line up in the slot. I understand route schemes and route concepts, and coming out of the breaks, I catch the ball a lot better. I'm a lot more confident actually in catching punts too. I catch punts very well. I've learned how to relax and catching my punts, and increase my versatility as a ball carrier in just every aspect. So I can do a lot more. I'm a lot bigger, stronger, a lot wiser, and I'm very healthy, man. My legs are fresh. I'm basically a wild bull out here.
What's it like as a punt returner? I've always wondered that with you guys standing back there and you have 11 guys barreling down on you.
Well, honestly, man, you can't think about it. You gotta, when you're a punt returner, you just gotta have it in your mind like, I'm finna score. Like, soon as the ball is in the air, like, I'm scoring. Like, you have to have that in your mind. You can't be thinking about, oh, all these 11 guys are coming to attack me and all this stuff, because then you're not in a faith state. You're in a conflicted state.
Yeah.
When you're in a conflicted state, then that man who has that greater mindset over you is going to dominate you. You can't have that in football.
That makes sense. Yeah. And what's your film study like right now?
It's great, man. I right now just been watching a lot of IFL games. Just been watching the IFL, seeing how the arena game is played versus, obviously regular football. So just been looking at that and trying to implement the little things that they do, the little quick tosses and things that they do into my game or into my training.
Right. And who do you pattern your game after?
Man, I grew up watching a lot of Adrian Peterson, but as of late, I've been watching a lot of Barry, man. I've been watching a lot of Barry. That's pretty much all who I've been watching, man. I watch a lot of Barry. I still watch some AP. I think I'm a mix, man. I think I'm a mix. I would class myself as a balanced runner. I like to run violent. People look at me and they, oh, he's giving a lot of moves and all stuff. That's just what I'm working on specifically. So I have that aspect of my game, but I really like to run with power.
Right. That's a good answer.
And who is somebody in your life that just inspires you to keep moving towards your football goals?
Definitely my wife, man. My wife has been my rock in these times, even when I was down, even when, like you said, all these crazy, weird things was happening. And she was just like, babe, just keep going. God gonna make a way, et cetera, et cetera. And she's made the ultimate sacrifice to help me continue to pursue my dreams, to put me in positions to succeed, and to help me get access to the resources that I need. So she's, I told her at some point whenever I get to where I'm going, I'm gonna do something called the Testament of Shay, and just talk about all the different sacrifices she's made, because she's the GOAT.
Beautiful. Yeah. And I know you're very spiritual. Me and you spoke last year, a little bit before I was supposed to have my pro day events, which also got canceled because of the COVID. Tell us a little bit about that, your spirituality, and I think you got your little ministry over there with select group of people you bring in. Tell us a little bit about that, and why that's so important to you.
Well, man, and it's crazy that you said that, because the Lord has even been taking me deeper. So I was raised in the church, like most black kids, forced to go to church, and I sat through the services and I was asleep, but I started walking seriously with the Lord in 2013, 2012, 2013. And then my relationship with him grew, and my experiences with the Lord started growing. Weird stuff started happening. Like, one time I went to the gas station. I didn't have no money on my card and no overdraft protection. Somehow that card filled up my tank. I still don't understand it to this day how it happened, but just weird, crazy stuff. People giving me free food, people giving me all these different things. Like, I was doing Lyft last night, and I had been praying that, hey, Lord, give me whatever it is you have for me to bless me this day. I get a chef in my car. The guy gives me a big old plate full of pot stickers that was for himself.
Nice.
Just for giving. I mean, I could go on a million stories, but then I actually saw Jesus, man. He actually appeared to me physically. and I've also seen him in dreams. So I know that he exists. I know that he's real from my own personal experience, and I can physically hear him. It's not like an audible voice, but it's like it shoots in your head like a thought. It's like a thought, but it's not your thought. It's something else's thought. You know what I mean?
I know exactly what you're saying.
Yeah. So
For
you know,
me, over the last couple of years after my car accident,
yeah.
just by meditation, it's just been certain intuitions, certain feelings.
Hmm.
I couldn't put my finger on it at first, but it's an amazing thing. But I think it's because your belief is so strong too,
Amen.
Yeah.
and the
Yeah.
belief becomes a reality. This is what people don't understand. When you believe something strong enough,
Yep.
that's exactly you're basically writing your ticket.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the scripture says, uh, he who wants to come to the Lord must believe first that he is. You know, a lot of people, they come to the Lord, they're like, God, if you're real, do this. And then they don't do it. And he's like, he's not real. But the scripture already said you got to believe that he's real from the jump. That's a prerequisite.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
Exactly.
so,
Ultimatums.
yeah, I met my wife. My wife is actually a prophetess. So, I actually literally prayed my wife in. I actually stopped dating. I was like, look, man, I don't want these women. They trifling. Let me just pray for my wife. And I started praying, and she came shortly thereafter in 2016 when I was still at Minnesota. I was praying in the locker room, man. I was praying in the locker room, literally praying, like commanding her to come forth. And she did. And my wife is 10 years older than me. And so, we immediately was talking about marriage from there. That's like my soulmate. And we started, we've been married since 18, and we just started ministering to people, man. We help people get free from various bondages that they're in. We help people get free from witchcraft and spells and curses and, all this just wicked things that people are doing to other people now. And they don't have any resources, so they go see the witch doctor, they go see some psychic, or they go see, what I'm saying? But there should be a prophet that they can go see. There should be a pastor, there should be a minister that they can go see that can help them, in a way that's not demonic. And so, we help people in that way. And of course, we have our own warfare. We've had our own journey, and we continue to grow in Christ, man. Continue to grow in Christ and try and be the best example and ambassador for Him that we can. And at the same time, we gotta do that without being lame. You know what I mean? I think you don't want to be. I represent Christ, but Christ is not a weirdo, man. I've had guys who talk to me about spirituality, but they're weirdos. Like, they're blowing up my phone. They're just it's like, bro, you don't have to do all that.
Yeah.
Christ was a man of, he spoke. He didn't speak that much. A lot of it. I'm not gonna sit here and try and convince you. Why? Because we're in a time where people don't even want to hear words now. It's unfortunate.
I
Um,
usually don't get into much of the religion, but I know how important it is to you. And,
Yeah.
I might not be a so-called necessarily Jesus Christ, but I'm spiritual. I know there's something there, and I respect everybody's freedom of religion, which I think is disgusting that people don't nowadays. I don't care what you are. You're a Muslim, Jewish, whatever it may be. That's your thing. That's what you believe. That keeps you strong. That keeps you planted to the ground. And the bottom line is we are all one. We all came from the same thing. I mean, whether people
right,
admit it or not, to me, my belief is God is in us all. He's our soul. He's our
right,
soul. And we're all here to serve a purpose. And by hurting other people or putting down their religion or whatever they're doing to make their spirituality, however you get your spirituality, it doesn't matter, just as long as you're getting it. You have that love inside of you, and you care about your fellow man. That's the main thing. I think a lot of organized religion has blown it a little out of proportion and made it a lot about money and a lot about, you see these people and they're wearing all the expensive clothes and the expensive jewelry, and you see it a lot in New York City. Some of the richest guys are, ministers and pastors. They're
hmm,
driving around in nice cars, and that's not what it's all about. You know, it's about being able to respect each other's spirituality, and realize we are all one. We all come from the same thing, and he's inside of us. God is within us all. And I think, you know, that's a beautiful thing. That's just something that came to me. I was never a real big religious person, but it's something that just made me realize it's like, you know, why do I feel for these people? These people are nothing like me. Hey, at some point, somebody in my family or somebody, you know, maybe even me in a past life was, you know, maybe went through some of the same things that these people are going through, the same oppressions and the same, you know, and that's why I hurt for them, you know, and it's a shame that other people can't see it. You know, sometimes they don't see it until they're on their deathbed, and sometimes they don't see it at all. But, you know, I believe the consciousness is definitely changing, and we're going more towards a spiritual world. And, you know, I really believe that right now it's basically the good versus the evil, and we're seeing that old energy versus the new energy, and the new energy starting to win out. So,
right,
I love that.
for sure, man. For
Mike,
sure.
ask you a little bit about this
season. I just had one more question for you. Just curious as to when your season starts for the Oregon High Desert Storm.
I believe it's the first game is May 8th, I think. The schedule is on.
When do you guys have to report then?
Mid-April, like April 14th or 15th, I believe. They're gonna release it league wide. I think the league office is still talking about it, but they're projecting the 14th or 15th.
Okay, so that's coming up very soon.
Yeah, that's what I say. I'm ready to play right now. You know what I mean? I'm a lean, mean machine, baby.
Nice.
Yep.
And let me finish you off with this one. Tell any pro scouts, GMs, coaches, whether it's CFL, NFL, XFL, why Caleb Stennis is a great fit for their organization.
Well, I think, you know, one thing that people don't understand is you're not a pro just because you signed a contract. You know what I mean? You're not a pro just because you play for Saskatchewan. You're a pro in everything that you do. You're a pro in your work ethic, in your film study, and how you go about anything, even the smallest thing, from how you stretch, from how you handle your business on the field, your mentality, how you execute day in and day out. And I think that's what you're going to get from me, that all these athletes that are saying, oh yeah, I want to go pro, you're going to find out in 3 or 4 days they're not really pros. You know what I'm saying? I'm a true pro. Like, I'm a professional, whether I'm on your team or on another team. I'm still a professional. Even if I'm right now at home training, I'm still a professional. You know what I mean? So I think I bring that to any organization. I bring a game player, a game breaking ability to any organization. I bring leadership and character to any organization, and playmaking ability. And at the end of the day, that's all it's about, man. Winning games, making plays, and being a true professional. And I don't think there's a team out there that couldn't benefit from that.
Amen.
Absolutely. Very important. And we appreciate you coming on the show, man. And if you want to plug where we can find you on social media, Instagram or Twitter or wherever we can find you, your handles. And I'll put everything up on vfp.football. Get your film up there with your profile and the interview, and we'll get you out there and get you some more exposure.
Yes, sir, man. You can find me on Instagram at chosen with a Z, CHOZEN _ the number 1 _ 93. You can find me on Twitter at Stennis, so that's STENNIS Caleb, CALEB. And you can find me on Facebook, Caleb Stennis. You can find me on Snapchat, Texas with 2 X's, so TEXXAS05. Yeah, man, and I'm like I said, I'm posting a lot of workout footage. I mean, you can check my Twitter right now. You know, I've posted some new workout footage on there. Check my Instagram. I got some new workout footage on there, man, and you know, giving them just enough to keep the throat from being dry, but not too much, you know.
Well, I see you grinding out there, man. You're killing it, and we look forward to seeing you. We appreciate having you on the show. Caleb Stennis, currently of the Pro Indoor Football League, conference. I'm sorry, the Oregon High Desert Storm. We look forward to seeing you play this year. Thanks for coming on the Victory Formation podcast.
Thanks for having me, man. Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
You have a good night, brother.
You too, man.
Appreciate it, Caleb.